Hey everyone, welcome to my show. Be sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch for all my exclusive content. Hello, Fleet Commanders. Tiberius here. I had an opportunity this week to sit down with the Senior Vice President Cameron and talk about some stuff. It was a good conversation. It's kind of part of a media week thing we're doing. There's going to see a lot more content creators posting interviews with him over the next week or two here. And I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted this to go, right? Just feel like a professional interview like you see on TV a lot of the times, or just kind of have more of just like a conversation, like get to know him a little bit and just kind of feel out like more of him as the person than him as like the VP, and just kind of see like what type of guy is it that's leading, this new revolution for Star Trek Fleet Command and trying to turn the game around. And then I kind of remembered an old TV clip that I absolutely love that's just been ingrained up here for years. And we're going to share it with you right here real quick.
I feel like I'm being audited.
It's all in there. What the hell are you doing?
Let's just be two guys talking, okay? Let's go.
And that's what I was kind of looking for, right? Just two guys having a conversation, right? That's all I wanted was let's just sit down, let's just talk, let's just see where this goes, let's get to know each other a little bit, let's let the community get to know them a little bit. And this brought me back to something that I had started a couple of years ago, which was a series called Getting to Know Your Content Creators, where I actually sat down and did some interviews with people. We did Bubba Joe, we did Trader, off of the Talking Trek panel a couple of years ago. We were supposed to do one with Stewie, but he ruined it, and then, kind of just... it went by the wayside after that. And then Mord brought it back a couple of years later. He sat down with me and a bunch of other content creators and did kind of similar interviews for 30 to 45 minutes, just getting to know everybody's story. And I've always meant to get back to that thing, and maybe this will be the thing that kicks it off. But here's the video of our interaction, and very curious to hear what you guys think. And all right, Fleet Commanders, we're sitting down here with... hang on, let me make sure I get this right. It's a long title. Senior Vice President, Head of Product and Live Game Portfolio with Scopely, Mr. Cameron Stewart is giving us a little time today. Thank you very much for being here.
Of course. I'm happy to be here.
I know you're making the rounds with a lot of content creators this week, so
it's a busy week.
I'm sure we'll have all kinds of fun questions and answers to get to listen to and check out all the content when it's available. But first, let's, one of the piece of content I used to make back in the day was sort of getting to know your content creators. The people, especially some of the people who don't have their own dedicated stream by themselves. They're part of a group or a team. You don't always get to know a little bit of their backstory. So I thought we'd try and let the community get to know you a little better and then kind of go from there. So, obviously you've been with Scopely now 6-7-ish months, obviously you're walking in the door. You probably had certain expectations about what this game, this community, this project that you were going to be in charge of trying to improve was going to be like. Things work out the way you kind of, was it, anything catch you by surprise that you walked in the door thinking one thing and actually it was something a little different?
For sure. And not in a bad way, but for me, I started, in mid-January, and, I think a lot of the context that individuals don't have is that, I came to Scopely to run the mid-core portfolio, which consists of Fleet Command, Marvel Strike Force, and WWE Champions. And it takes time to begin you're learning, multiple GMs, multiple teams, how Scopely works, how the live game portfolio works, which is number of titles, at Scopely. Mm-hmm. And it was very clear that, obviously we have a gap with Trek. And so I decided to, there's a lot of opinions on do this, do that. And before I made any decisions, I had to understand the team. I had to see it for myself. So I decided to do the 5-week trip out to Barcelona and Dublin. So that was at the beginning of May, and I think that's when I would officially kind of start the clock for when I started to really get involved full time with Trek. And so went out, met with probably 50 individuals one on one.
Yeah.
And Trek is a much larger team with that. And I just actually got back again from
Dublin, right?
Barcelona and Dublin.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to spend as much time with different levels of the team because you have to understand from the bottom to the top, from the side, everything that this game is. And what I realized is that I'm not going to try and understand this game as you guys know it. That's impossible.
Right.
You guys have 8 years of gameplay, 8 years of context. I can't choose to understand that. It'll be too slow, and I want to move fast.
Right.
And so, what I decided to do is actually lean into the content creators, lean into the players. I've taken multiple calls with players, with VIPs. Obviously, I'm talking to the content creators every single day, even on Saturdays and Sundays. And that's where I'm going to dedicate my life to making sure that we get this thing turned around. But the last thing that I wanted to do is just come in and start making a whole bunch of decisions without actually understanding the people behind it.
Absolutely.
Not gone anywhere. And so, now I have a much better handle on what's going on. I am hoping that the players are starting to see some of the changes. I have certainly some of my fingerprints on M93 with the Battle Pass changes, certainly. M94 is going to deliver even greater changes to the Battle Pass, which I hope people are very excited about.
Those were just spoiled. So obviously there's some positive feedback already about
Yeah,
more
amazing.
choice, more choice. What we had choice in 2025 and choice was kind of taken away in 2026.
Yep.
Getting back to that, if that's your fingerprints, at least, pushing the button or shoving things back in that direction. I think the community would be very appreciative of that.
100%. And there's a lot of members on the team that certainly are driving that as well. But I think that's what I've been probably the most happy with is like I'm starting to see that culture change to where it doesn't have to be a decision that comes from me. It's things that now I'm going, okay, like now we're on the same playing field. Individuals are really thinking player first. And the content creators deserve a lot of credit for that. We're spending more time than ever before with the content creators. Text Discord messages are flying back and forth every day. There's a lot of heated debates in those channels, but that's what makes games great. It's what makes anything great is having multiple opinions and data that people can see that go, oh, you know what? Now I understand why that decision was made, but I never had that context before. So
Yeah.
look, the iron is heating up, and I feel really good about it, but we have to continue showing action to our players, which obviously we fully intend to do.
Awesome. If you could go back to day one, is there anything you would do differently? Knowing that you've had a few months now to kind of get it, like maybe we got off to the wrong foot. If I could have caught up a little sooner or something, or
If I, knowing what I know now, I would have, number one, I would have directly focused on Trek from the very beginning. I think when you get thrown into a role like this, you have to try to establish, okay, where am I going to focus my time? Because if I try and focus on all three games, I'll get
right?
nothing accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think that I tried to equally focus on each of the games. And then again, you open up this box of Trek and you go, oh my God, there's a lot, right? It's
Yeah.
a super deep game and it's a long tenured game. And so, I wish I would have started day one with like, this is my 100% focus and I would have flown out the next day, right?
Right.
And then I think number two, I would have started talking to the players and the content creators also on day one and having them teach me their side of the game. Obviously, I'm spending a ton of time with the team, but that's one view
Right.
of the game. I need to get all the views of the game, which is data, which is team, which is content creators, which is players, which is, and not talking to one content creator, but all the content creators, because
Hmm.
even within that group, there's this opinion, this opinion, this opinion. And then I can marry it up with the team's opinion, the data that we have,
Right.
and then ultimately I'm able to make the best decision for our players. Um, so I would have day one, I would have done things very differently for sure. It's funny, if you know me or have worked with me, everybody would go, "Oh my God, Cam's the most urgent guy that
Hmm.
I know. He runs extremely fast." You know, in my past, it's like people have to slow me down.
Hmm.
And then if you talk to the Star Trek community, they're like, "Well, what's he doing over there? Is he not moving fast enough?" Look,
Yeah.
it's a difficult ship,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to pretend that, I said in the last interview, I can't turn water into wine. I wish I could. I would joke I wouldn't be at Scopely. I would have been way more successful if I
Yeah.
could turn water into wine. Um, and but it's for me, like, this is a big ship. If we turn it around, meaning that we start making too many decisions too fast,
Hmm.
we're going to get in the same last 3 years that we've been in, which wasn't long-term focused enough.
Right.
And so I know that people are, thinking that things are moving too slow. I can promise you internally, people don't feel that way. I think they feel like things are moving very quickly. And I want to move quicker and I want to show more action. But I ask that, everybody gives us a little bit of patience because this is a big challenge.
Yeah.
I'm up for it. We're all up for it, but we need, the positivity and some of the patience to be able to do the right things for this game.
Of course. I mean, again, you can't turn the Titanic around on a dime. It's not a Hot Wheel that you can just spin around. So this is a big project. You've got a lot of people working on it. There's a lot of coding in this game, and the instant you try and change one little thing, something else over here stops working,
To
right?
be,
So,
to be honest, and this isn't an excuse, like
yeah.
the last 2 weeks, we were moving too fast. We were changing too many things.
Hmm.
And obviously the intentions were amazing. We're
Right.
trying to get more things to our players. But we broke a lot of stuff in that process and we harmed the player experience. And I think what was a very positive M93 release, we had a lot of good feedback with that release. We went one step forward, we went two steps back with all the things that we released in the last 2 weeks. And so that kills me. It's embarrassing. It's not our bar. And the team knows that, and we feel terrible about it. But that doesn't excuse what happened. And so we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to get things back on track,
Yeah.
and that's why M94 is going to be a very player first driven release.
Awesome. Did you anticipate how passionate the fan base might be compared to some of the other properties that you're working with here? I don't know what
God
WWE and
no,
Marvel are like,
God,
but yeah,
God no. Look, there's passionate players all
of
over
course.
any game,
Yeah.
right? I worked in the casino industry for many years. Different genre of players, and I got to go on many cruises with them. By the way, I'm going on the Star Trek cruise this year, so I hope to see many of you guys on it. Um, but players are passionate in different ways. What I would say about the Star Trek community that shocked me is the the crazy intelligence that is in
Mm.
this community. I mean, it is like I got to go out to dinner with a number of the content creators and players, and man, they start going into like Trek lore and the deepness of this game, and I'm like, okay, like catch me up, like
Right.
teach me. And that was crazy to see is how deep and passionate these players are about the game. And so I don't take the anger personally. I take it as like the only reason people are sometimes angry about the game is because they love this game. They're
Right.
passionate about this game. Much of how I feel about the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
I trust me, every Sunday
Uh,
I'm pretty upset. But
I'm a Jets fan, so I feel you.
yeah, see, you
Yeah,
understand it
I
even more than
understand the
I
pain. Yeah,
do. Yeah.
this is our year, right? We've been saying it for 57
Exactly.
years, but
But one thing that I've, always done with the Bears, I
yeah.
always show up. I
Mhm.
always back them up. I'm always trying to be as positive as possible. And what I ask from this community is that we've got to keep things solution oriented
Right.
and positive because ultimately that's going to feed the culture that we're trying to drive, which is positivity because
Hmm.
a lot of people that started on this game 10 years ago when it started development are still on this game. The people that brought Trek greatness are still on this game. And so there are great people, there are mothers and fathers that
Hmm.
are killing themselves on this game to bring that game to you guys and ultimately I want to make sure that we create that positive environment because that's what will drive us forward.
That's great to hear too, because institutional memory is something you can't always necessarily, pick up and just move forward with. And if you've
Especially on
got,
this game.
especially when you're constantly coding and moving things from I mean, even the same coding engines from 10 years
Yeah,
ago aren't. And I know that's been a project too, is trying to overhaul a lot of that stuff. And
for sure.
that is certainly an area where you'll see some people in the community who are like, I know exactly how to fix this, and I could just do this. And you're like,
You know it.
whoa, hang on a minute, I don't know
You
what you're
know it's
talking about.
funny. It's funny that you say that. We got Chronox and Quasel in
Yeah,
the Dublin studio last week, and um, I think they gained a lot of respect after they got to sit down with the engineers, and it was like, okay, this is how this worked, this is how this was built,
right.
this is why this is the way that it is, and they're like, oh my gosh, like how or why and then they understand the context behind it,
Hmm.
and then they gain a respect for, oh my gosh, this is a lot, right?
Right.
I can't believe. I mean, but when you don't have the context, you think all the bad, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good. There really is.
Since you brought those two guys up, obviously they have a lot of tools. Is that something that you expected? Like, wow, there's all these player created tools and stuff out there to help improve this gameplay experience.
As soon as I started seeing those things, my first comment was, "Why in the hell aren't we using these guys more?" And
Yeah.
you've probably seen it. You're a little bit more into it, Tibbs, but the back and forth that we've now got a number of people in the Discord channels from the team.
Hmm.
There's debates happening every day, heated, like good friction, right? And that's how we're going to make a better game is now the team is talking to most of the content creators every day. We're talking to players every day. And that is going to be the change on how we deliver a better player experience for ourselves is that we're creating that healthy design meets product meets data friction. Where we'll make some decisions or get about to make decisions and go, but have you thought about this? Or have you thought about this? Or have
Hmm.
you tweaked it this way? And that's going to make a better game.
Okay. You brought up your previous experience in the casino mobile gaming type
Yep.
industry. Obviously this is a lot different with the
Yeah.
massive multiplayer online, scenarios. Um, you know, how has your perspective on things in terms of just like officer progression or account progression and things like that changed from your previous experience?
Yeah. So look, what's important about gaming is the core loop, right? And sometimes when you get in difficult games like this, I have previous experience in RPGs as well. And what I saw was sometimes the team thinks actually too complex,
Hmm.
almost outsmart themselves in a way, right?
42 currencies for something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'll never forget this, in the past is that, I took the team and all the ideas are on the board and you go, okay, but this is the core experience, right? The slot machine,
Hmm.
right? Same thing with Trek. We put all the ideas on the board, but almost nothing had to do with the core experience, which is ship versus ship battling, whether it be PvE or PvP. If that experience isn't great, well, then nothing else matters. And so that's what I want to get back into is that core experience with this is a ship versus ship battler. And if that experience isn't as great as it can be, well, then again, nothing else matters. And so we're going to work inside out rather than outside in. And that's what we got to bring back to this game. And I think the going back into casino, it's funny when you start taking somebody that hasn't worked in casino or doesn't necessarily understand the inner workings of it. Um, Casino is about as deep as you can get in terms of design. Um, the math behind a slot machine is some of the
Yeah.
most difficult, math and greatest mathematicians in the entire world,
Mhm.
because the reality is that you've got to keep somebody on that seat. Number one, you can't give them too much in the beginning, because then they
Take it
then
and
they walk
leave.
away and they
Yeah.
take it and leave, right?
Yeah.
And also at the same time, you can't burn them, because then they're not having a good time. And so
They don't come back
I
and they won't
look
sit
at it
down
as
again. Yeah.
very similar experiences, taking people through that ride of ultimately having a great time while they're playing the game. And so whether it be track or casino, or it doesn't matter what it is, games are games at the core center of them. Now we have to change that for who the players are, what they love, and that's what I'm trying to understand as best as possible with things like this.
Mhm.
But there's actually a lot more crossover than what people may think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. You also talked earlier about your travels recently. You've been to Dublin a couple of times. You've been to
Yeah.
Barcelona. Your central U.S. Main headquarters is West Coast U.S. Obviously there's a lot of challenges trying to manage teams in different locations across multiple time zones. For you sitting down having this meeting now, it's midnight for them. West Coast is still working for another hour or two. Like, what's that process been like, and how has that been a previous experience with your other companies, or were they more centrally located, or?
Yeah, so look, I've been used to for global gaming for 10 plus years. I The market moved so much that way because number one, we have players all over the world. And
Right.
so, and I think look, gaming is the best job on the planet. I'm so lucky to do what I do every single day. But it's not easy. And I tell that to anybody that wants to get involved in gaming. If you want to work a 9 to 5 job, gaming is not for you. It is a 24/7 service, because you're up, your players are up 24/7. And so I very much believe in, that work hard, play hard mentality. And it doesn't matter if it's 8 p.m. on a Saturday or if it's 7 a.m. on a Monday. We're up taking care of our players. And obviously we have processes that, make sure that, physically that people can't be up all the time, all
Hmm.
day, every day. But it's actually something that we need to continue making sure that we have a much stronger approach at, because it is really hard. We do have people that are up at 10 p.m. We do have people that are up, early, and so we are working through those processes. We're making sure that we're getting people together in person, which is helping with those things. For myself personally, my wife probably answered this a little bit differently, but I've been traveling probably 60% of the time since I've been at Scopely. Now I love doing it because I want to be around people.
Right.
But yeah, it's not easy. It's not. That's a barrier that you can't necessarily solve. And so, but with technology, with AI, with people spending more time together, I do think it's more possible than ever before.
Awesome. I mean, obviously, we see the artwork behind you, so we know there's some little ones around too. So I'm sure the wife maybe not thrilled
Yeah,
you're gone 60% of the time, but
yeah, but the kids, what's tough about the kids is, like, they've known no different, so they're very used to it, and now
this is
they're
what
just
dad
the
does,
thing
right? Yeah.
that yeah, the thing that they're most concerned about is like what I'm bringing home for them every single trip. And so when you're sleep deprived and you're coming back and you forget and you're running through the airport, you're like, oh,
Hmm.
shit, I forgot to get something for the kids. They've got a million little trinkets, but I think the way that I've always seen it is, look, you put in what you get out of it. And I've always wanted my kids to see that. It's what my dad and mom did, before me, is work hard for what you love. And I don't look at this as work. I look at this as my passion. I love making games. And again, I'm very lucky to do it every single day. And there's a million people out there that would love to do this, and we have to remember that we get to do this for people like yourself and for your community. These passionate people that play this game every single day, we're damn lucky to be able to build it for them. So
Awesome. Final question. We have a couple minutes left here. I know we talked earlier, tech issues, trying to go too fast and things like that. And have you had to sort of reevaluate certain timelines now because of the recent events? And do you sort of have like an end? I don't want to put you on like a firm date, like where it'll be done by Christmas or else, you're all fired. Nothing like that. But obviously just sort of, is it a 6-month plan? Is it like a year-long plan to sort of kind of right the ship here and get server stability and events rolling out properly and scoring properly? And
look, when I first came in and we started putting the plan together, number one, there wasn't enough individuals spending time on the core
Right.
tech group of the game. So number one, we staffed up that team to an appropriate level, and to be honest, we may have to staff it up even further. And that doesn't mean that we're just going to start adding a bunch of bodies to track.
right.
But what we are going to do, we're going to use institutional knowledge, and we are using a lot of the individuals that are still at Scopely that actually built this foundation. They are now involved in a technical council, where their involvement in the game is on a week by week basis. So that is helping greatly. Number two, again, we staffed up the team appropriately, but this is going to be a journey. This is when you understand the context of it, this code base was set up, about a dozen years ago. We had the Digit side, we had the Scopely side, we had, multiple code stacks being merged. I'm not afraid of this challenge. I've been around. I've never, ever, ever gone to a game and had, every technologist go, "Hey, our code base is perfect." That actually never happened, right?
No.
Every code base is the worst code base ever, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Trek has really great bones in it.
Right.
We've just got to stop making our own mistakes. We have to have a better bar. And what the bar is not that we deliver less stuff. It's that somebody raises their hand and go, "This isn't ready." Like, whether it be QA, whether it be the product manager, whether it be the technologists themselves, we have to spend another minute on our stuff to deliver greatness. And we're running way too fast, and that has to stop. And so I think first it's a cultural approach, but then it's a continuous dedication to that tech stack. I have zero plans to take any of those resources off of the core tech stack for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
And so there's likely never going to be a necessary date. This is when it's going to be fixed. I can assure you that it's getting far more attention than it ever has before.
Awesome. And we've already seen some of those things you've mentioned about pulling stuff back. We've had Arc Falls moved from Tuesday to Thursday because we needed a couple extra days to get it out and get it delivered. And other events were like, "Hey, we know this event or this thing was supposed to release. We need 2 more days because we're not quite there yet." And that was certainly something in 5-6 years of playing the game we had never seen before. Stuff was released broken.
For sure.
The Kirshara,
we put
yeah.
gaps in. We put gaps in the ship release. Like that was a call that that I made. Certainly, but it was at the the decision making process of the content creators. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give Jules Verne a lot of credit for that. I asked him directly. I was like, "What would you do?" He's like, "I wouldn't launch ship." I said, "Done. We're not launching the ship." And with Planetary Basis, we moved that from 94 to 95. We moved seasons from 95 to 96 because it wasn't good enough. We're not going to deliver. Now, things are not going to be released perfectly.
No.
I'm not going to promise that. But what we are going to do, we are going to start taking our time and delivering. I very much believe in iterative game development.
Right.
And so I'm not going to hold everything to perfection. That's impossible. But what we have to do is start getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better.
Right.
And what's happened in the last 2 weeks is that's not our bar. The team's embarrassed by that. I'm embarrassed by it. We need to be better. And so we are going to delay things, but that's what this game needs to be able to deliver greatness to our players.
Fantastic. I don't want to keep you anymore. I'm sure you have other stuff to get going and do, but might be somebody else waiting for another one after this.
I'll track all day. I love it.
Yeah. But obviously we're enthusiastic. We're waiting to see where this all goes, and fingers are crossed that, obviously we've noticed things getting better over the last few months, and we just continue to stay on the course, right?
Yeah. And what I ask of the community is, I'm not asking for trust. We have to prove that. We have to gain that back. But what I am asking for is try and stay as positive as possible. We will work harder with positivity. I promise that. And when those frustrations do happen, because I'm not frustration's okay. But then also come with a solution. Right?
Constructive criticism is what we've always been preaching is, you can't just be like, this sucks. It's like, and then what?
Yeah.
Why? How would you fix it? How would you do it better? What could we be doing? Constructive, positive feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny? I'll tell you a story about constructive feedback because I love using things in the workplace and then, putting them into real life. In the Midwest, there is, I'm from Iowa. There is this taco pizza is like
okay.
king. And when I moved to Austin, pizza was the one cuisine that was better in the Midwest than it was in Austin. Obviously the tacos are amazing here. Right. And then you can get any type of food in Austin, Texas. But taco pizza, there was one place that had it in town. I'm like, oh, I'm craving taco pizza. I got to go get it. And the last thing I did is go, and I had it, and it wasn't very good.
Right.
But the last thing I did was be everybody else on Google Maps and blow them up on a review.
Right.
I sent them an email, and they responded with oh my God, thank you so much. And I gave them this is how this restaurant in Iowa made it. They literally had me come back and try it, and it was so much better. And to this day, I will still get taco pizza at that restaurant, and it's that was my my feedback piece of that's how players will be so much happier if they are listened to and we can create that action. It was hey, I was one of the players that actually helped in that. And I promise we need to start listening. We have to do a better job of it, but that will make everybody happier.
Is it Cam's Taco Pizza on the menu now at that?
It should be, right?
Yeah.
I should go back and we got to name it that way.
You rewrote the recipe for him, right? I mean,
exactly. I want a rep here too.
But
so.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking this time. Hopefully, obviously, this isn't the last time we'll have these types of conversations, and
for sure.
Look forward to doing it again soon. But keep up the good work, and
appreciate it, Tibs.
I'll see you around.
All right. See you, my man.
So there you have it, folks. Just a few minutes that I got to sit down with Mr. Cameron. Don't call me Patrick Stewart. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about him and a little more about the direction for where the game will be going in the next few months here. Thank you all very much for watching and staying tuned. Leave your comments down below. Any questions you'd like me to ask him next time? Anybody else you'd like to see Tibs sit down and have a little talk with? As always, stay safe, and we'll see you around the galaxy. Take it easy.